They say death is the great unknown. One moment you are breathing, feeling, thinking, and the next you are gone. But gone to where? Some say nothing awaits us, a silent, eternal void. Others speak of light, of darkness, of journeys beyond this world that defy human understanding. I'm a Christian, and I believe in the promise of heaven, the embrace of God's eternal love. But I also know the world is full of stories, visions, and experiences that cannot be explained. Tonight we explore one of humanity's oldest and deepest questions. Where do we go when we die? In Christianity, heaven is described as a place of indescribable beauty, peace, and love beyond imagining. Revelation 21:4 tells us, "He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." A world where suffering ceases, where the soul is free to exist in eternal harmony with God. Islam paints a similarly radiant picture. Jannah, the garden, is a paradise of flowing rivers, fragrant gardens, and eternal reward for those who lived righteously. The Quran says, "But those who believe and do righteous deeds, we will admit them to gardens beneath which rivers flow." The imagery is vivid, almost cinematic, a vision of perfection, a life unbound by earthly limits. Hinduism and Buddhism speak of cycles of rebirth, karma shaping the soul's journey. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes the bardo, an intermediate state where consciousness drifts, encountering lights, spirits, and visions reflecting one's own mind. Only by recognizing the true nature of reality can the soul be freed from endless cycles of suffering. Even ancient Egyptians prepared meticulously for the afterlife. The soul, weighed against the feather of Ma'at, faced judgment. Purity meant passage into the fields of reeds, a perfected reflection of the life once lived. Those who failed were devoured by Amit, the fearsome guardian of the underworld. Across centuries, cultures, and faiths, the message is the same. Death is not the end. It is a transition, a journey into realms we can scarcely imagine. While heaven inspires hope, the idea of hell has inspired fear for millennia. In Christianity, hell is described as eternal fire, a place where the unrepentant endure torment. Dante's Inferno paints vivid circles of punishment, each reflecting sins committed in life, a terrifying poetic warning that choices matter even after death. Islamic texts describe Jahannam as a blazing pit, where souls are purified through suffering or punished for eternity. The Quran warns, "The fire will burn their faces, and they will therein grin, while they are therein suffering." Even in Hinduism, souls may endure painful rebirths, trapped in cycles of suffering until karmic debts are resolved. Ancient myths often portray hell as a realm of shadows and despair, where spirits face trials reflecting their earthly actions. These visions of darkness are chilling, yet they serve a purpose. They remind us that life is fleeting, that choices echo beyond the grave, and that what we leave behind may follow us into the unknown. Science cannot fully explain the experiences of those who hover on the edge of death. Some people describe floating above their bodies, seeing their own lifeless forms. Others recount moving through tunnels of light, greeted by figures they cannot name but know are familiar. Anita Moorjani, who nearly died from cancer, described a world of pure energy where fear and pain dissolved. She recalled, "I felt an overwhelming sense of love and understanding, and knowing that life is not what we think it is." Another, Howard Storm, a former atheist, described falling into a dark void, tormented by unseen forces, before being rescued by beings of light. "I knew I had to choose, to turn toward the love that existed even in the darkness," he said. Some report encounters with deceased loved ones, moments of forgiveness or glimpses of alternate lives. Others see terrifying voids, shadows of regret, and feelings of overwhelming despair. Near-death experiences, though subjective, suggest that consciousness may linger even when the body ceases to function. Science seeks to explain the unknown in material terms. The brain stops receiving oxygen, neural activity ceases, and yet many report vivid experiences moments after clinical death. Are these purely chemical reactions, hallucinations born of dying neurons? Or is consciousness something deeper, more fundamental than the brain itself? Some theorists argue that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, not merely a product of biology. In this view, death is less an ending and more a transformation, and merging with the infinite. Quantum theories even suggest that consciousness may exist outside of time and space, an idea that challenges everything we think we know. What happens when the light fades? Will we find the peace of heaven, the trials of hell, or a journey we cannot describe? Ancient texts, near-death experiences, and scientific musings all hint at a truth humans can feel, but cannot fully grasp. Death is a mirror, reflecting the life we lived, the choices we made, and the love we gave. Perhaps death is a teacher. Perhaps it is a bridge, a tunnel, or a return to the source of all existence. Each story, each vision, each theory, whether religious, philosophical, or scientific, tells us the same thing. There is more than this world. There is something beyond the veil. As a Christian, I hold on to the hope of heaven, the promise of eternal love and reunion with God. Yet I cannot ignore the stories, the visions, the mysteries that stretch beyond my faith. I do not claim to know the full truth. Perhaps no one can. And maybe that is the beauty of it. The unknowable journey invites us to live fully, to love fiercely, and to reflect on what matters most. Death may be the ultimate mystery, but in pondering it, we come closer to understanding life itself. No one knows for certain where we go when we die. Some will find light, some darkness. Some may drift through endless cycles of rebirth. Others may vanish into the void. And yet the question waits for each of us. Inevitable, eternal, and unyielding. Where do we go when we die? The answer may be beyond sight, beyond understanding. And perhaps in that darkness, we find the most profound truth of all.